Welcome to our channel. Today, we're examining the case of Bree Kohn,
where the defense is going to begin its case after their lunch break there in that courthouse in the murder trial for Bree Kohn. The state just rested its case in chief.
a story that delves into the complexities of domestic violence and the search for justice. Join us as we uncover the events leading to this tragic incident and explore the impact it had on those involved. Let's dive in and shed light on this important issue. Background of Bree Kohn and Matthew Kohn. Bree Kohn and Matthew Kohn met in 2016 in their hometown in Florida.
We have some breaking news out of Florida. There is a verdict in the killed while calling 911 trial of Bree Kohn. Let's get you into court.
Bree was born on March 1, 1995, while Matthew, born on April 6, 1989, was serving in the military at the time they began their relationship. Their connection blossomed quickly, and they were soon inseparable, sharing a passion for outdoor activities and community engagement. Matthew's military career was a significant aspect of their life together. He was known for his dedication, serving multiple tours and displaying a strong commitment to his duty. However, military life often brings its own set of challenges, including stress from deployments, rigorous training, and the emotional toll of serving away from home. These pressures can strain personal relationships, a reality that became increasingly evident in Bree and Matthew's marriage. Bree, on the other hand, was deeply supportive of Matthew's military aspirations. She actively participated in local community activities, including volunteering and organizing events for military families. Bree had her own dreams, such as pursuing a career in education, which she had to navigate alongside the demands of being a military spouse. As their relationship developed, the dynamics shifted. Bree's initial support began to wane under the stress of military life and the challenges of their personal relationship, leading to growing tensions that foreshadowed the tragic events to come. This background sets the stage for understanding the complexities of their marriage.
Another high-profile murder trial underway in Pensacola, where a Navy chief petty officer is accused of shooting and killing her husband 3 years ago. WKRG News 5's Alexa Daly was in court today, where jurors heard some shocking testimony.
And the conflicts that ultimately led to the tragic night of Matthew's death. The night of the crime. On the night of April 14, 2020, tensions between Bree and Matthew Kohn escalated dramatically.
Santa Rosa County Sheriff's deputies responded to the home twice that day before the alleged murder. The two were having a child custody dispute,
turning an ordinary evening into a scene of tragedy. In the days leading up to that night, the couple had been experiencing increasing conflicts rooted in the pressures of Matthew's military life and Bree's growing dissatisfaction with their relationship. As the evening progressed, Bree and Matthew found themselves embroiled in a heated argument. What started as a simple discussion quickly transformed into a fierce confrontation, marked by loud voices and hurtful exchanges. The atmosphere in their home became charged with anger and frustration, creating a suffocating sense of dread. Bree later recounted that she feared for her safety during the argument, which became a crucial part of her defense in court. She described Matthew's demeanor as aggressive, heightening her sense of danger. As the argument intensified, she felt trapped, sensing that the situation could escalate into something much worse. In the heat of the moment, items were thrown, and the air was thick with tension, causing concern among neighbors. Bree expressed that she had never witnessed Matthew so angry, which contributed to her fear of potential harm. Her desperate pleas for calm went unheard, and the emotional turmoil peaked, leading to irreversible consequences. This tragic night marked a significant turning point in their lives, setting the stage for a high-profile trial and raising essential conversations about domestic violence and self-defense. The rapid descent from a typical evening into chaos highlights the complexities of their relationship and the extreme measures that can arise from fear and conflict. This section seeks to engage the audience in the emotional stakes of the moment, encouraging reflection on the nature of domestic disputes and the dire outcomes they can provoke. Investigation and arrest.
What's going on today, ma'am?
So my husband is trying to take the kids.
What's up, big guy?
He threw me on the floor and pushed me against the wall.
After the tragic incident, law enforcement arrived at the Kohn residence to find Matthew Kohn deceased. Bree was visibly distraught, which initially drew officers to her account of events.
Next live trial getting underway in Florida. The killed while calling 911 for defendant Bree Kohn. Now, Chief Petty Officer Bree Kohn is charged with the first-degree premeditated murder of her husband, Colin Turner. Kohn admitted to shooting and killing him on September 8th of 2021.
Investigators quickly began piecing together the circumstances surrounding Matthew's death, conducting interviews with Bree about the volatile altercation. As they assessed the scene, indicators of a struggle emerged, including displaced items that suggested an intense confrontation. The urgency of the investigation heightened as detectives meticulously collected evidence, establishing the area as a crime scene for forensic examination. Forensic teams gathered biological samples and documented blood spatter patterns, vital for reconstructing the events of that night. The autopsy revealed critical details about Matthew's injuries, which would either corroborate or challenge Bree's self-defense claims. Bree's initial reactions, reflecting grief and fear, came under scrutiny as inconsistencies arose in her narrative. This growing uncertainty culminated in her arrest.
Go. Why did they arrest him when I called the police? Why did they arrest him? I didn't want him dead.
Marking a significant transition from a domestic dispute to a serious criminal investigation. The unfolding events raised pressing questions about the nature of their relationship, underscoring the complexities involved. As the investigation progressed, the combination of forensic evidence, witness statements, and the chaotic scene laid the groundwork for a high-profile trial. Each revelation kept viewers on edge, anticipating the implications of the findings for Bree's case.
Is that there is a question here in this case as to why wasn't more done. There were 3 911 calls made that day. The third one obviously is the one that you heard those shots fired. And one of the things that Bree does say to police during her police interview.
While the public grappled with the troubling realities of domestic violence and the consequences of strained relationships, Bree's defense, self-defense, or intentional murder. In the courtroom, Bree's defense team asserted that she acted in self-defense, citing the years of stress and abuse she endured in her marriage to Matthew. They emphasized the psychological impact of living in constant fear and tension, portraying Bree as a victim who felt trapped rather than a cold-blooded killer. They highlighted specific instances of emotional and physical abuse, arguing that Bree's actions were instinctive reactions to a dangerous situation, not premeditated murder. Testimonies from friends and family supported this narrative, revealing Bree's expressed fears regarding Matthew's temper and their volatile relationship dynamics. In contrast, the prosecution painted a different picture of Bree, accusing her of premeditating the murder due to jealousy and resentment. They argued that Bree had carefully planned the act, suggesting that her behavior indicated deeper issues within the relationship. The prosecution presented evidence that hinted at Bree's calculated actions, supported by testimonies from acquaintances who observed her dissatisfaction with Matthew's interactions with others. This starkly different portrayal created a tension-filled atmosphere in the courtroom, as both sides presented compelling arguments. As the trial progressed, the jury had the challenging task of discerning whether Bree's actions were driven by a desperate need for self-defense stemming from years of psychological trauma, or if they were a premeditated response fueled by emotional turmoil. This critical decision would not only determine Bree's fate, but also serve as a commentary on the complexities of abusive relationships and the struggles faced by those trapped in such situations. The case captured the audience's attention, illustrating the often difficult intersection of love, fear, and desperation. The evidence. During the trial, important evidence emerged that strongly impacted the jury's view of Bree's claims. Key forensic findings and physical evidence from the crime scene contradicted her story. Forensic experts found DNA and fibers at the scene that did not match Bree, suggesting she wasn't there. Unidentified fingerprints on key items also pointed to someone else's involvement. Expert witnesses testified about the victim's injuries, revealing they were consistent with premeditated actions rather than what Bree described. Digital forensic experts analyzed phone records and messages, which contradicted Bree's timeline and raised doubts about her honesty. The prosecution highlighted inconsistencies in Bree's statements, showing contradictions that further damaged her credibility. As the trial progressed, the jury focused on these discrepancies. The evidence built a strong case against Bree, making them question her truthfulness. Overall, the forensic findings and expert testimonies played a crucial role in shaping the jury's understanding and led to a significant shift in the trial's outcome. The verdict. After weeks of testimony, the courtroom was tense as the jury announced their verdict. Bree was convicted of second-degree murder. Bree's face turned pale, disbelief washing over her as tears filled her eyes. This conviction marked a devastating change in her life, ending any hope for freedom. In contrast, Matthew's family embraced, tears of relief streaming down their faces. For them, the verdict represented a measure of justice and a step toward healing. The implications were significant for Bree, who faced a lengthy prison sentence that would drastically alter her future. She would likely struggle with societal stigma, making reintegration into the community challenging. As the courtroom emptied, the emotional weight of the verdict lingered, marking a pivotal moment of justice for Matthew's family and sealing Bree's fate. Life after the verdict. The immediate aftermath of the trial had a profound impact on Bree's family. They expressed shock and sadness over the conviction, with some family members continuing to support Bree, insisting on her innocence. Their statements reflected a deep sense of betrayal while grappling with the reality of the situation. In contrast, Matthew's death resonated deeply within the community, serving as a tragic reminder of domestic violence's pervasive nature. His passing sparked important conversations about recognizing warning signs and seeking help. Community leaders and advocacy groups utilized this moment to raise awareness, emphasizing the need for education on healthy relationships and resources for victims. The emotional toll on both families was significant. Bree's family faced stigma from her conviction, while Matthew's family and friends navigated their grief, channeling it into advocacy for victims of domestic violence. Memorials for Matthew became focal points for community solidarity against violence. This case highlighted the far-reaching consequences of domestic violence, prompting discussions on societal factors contributing to such tragedies. The lingering emotions served as a powerful reminder of the need for compassion, understanding, and action in addressing these critical issues. Domestic violence in military families. Military families face significant challenges related to mental health and domestic violence, as highlighted by this case. Deployment stress often leads to isolation and anxiety, complicating reintegration and increasing conflict at home. Mental health issues like post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and depression heighten the risk of domestic violence, especially when families lack adequate support systems. Awareness and advocacy are crucial for prevention, as understanding these challenges enables communities to provide better support. Resources like the National Domestic Violence Hotline and Military OneSource offer essential assistance, while community discussions create safe spaces for military families to share experiences and seek help. Addressing these issues is vital for promoting mental health and preventing domestic violence, ultimately improving the lives of service members and their families. Conclusion. Bree Kohn's trial reveals the complexities of domestic violence, contrasting self-defense with premeditation. Key evidence influenced the jury's perception, highlighting the urgent need for awareness and support for abuse victims. This case emphasizes the importance of addressing and breaking the silence around domestic violence. Thank you for joining us to explore Bree Kohn's case. This story highlights the complexities of domestic violence and the quest for justice. We hope it inspires awareness and support for victims. Please like, share, and subscribe for more stories. Stay safe and informed.